Hello and welcome to the Mindful Show. Thank you for joining us once again. The Mindful Show is dedicated to all things mental health, awareness, prevention, promotion, wellness, and just good stuff for your mind. Today on the set, we discuss mental health and nutrition. Joining us for today's conversation is nutrition consultant and my good friend, Dr. Andrew Etiquette. Andrew, you are welcome to the Mindful Show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Good. So we have a tradition on the Mindful set. We serve starters. I know, don't worry, they are fat-free. Yeah. So we serve starters. So I am going to give you our welcome bowl and you will pick a question and answer it, just so we know something or two about you, and then we will dive into the conversation. So the questions are themed around different wellness areas, whether it's building resilience or strengthening your mind or self-care. So when you open whatever you will pick, you just read to us the theme and then answer the question.
All right.
All right.
Let's dive into this. Let's see. Okay, let's be honest. What is really getting on your nerves right now? Wow.
Be honest.
Is it okay for me to say that I'm of sound mental health and nothing is getting on my nerves right now?
That's okay. That's
no,
okay.
well, I would think what's getting on my nerves right now is thinking about, well, maybe not here, but in this time frame, I guess, of my life is figuring out certain things about how to grow the business. There are a couple of ideas I have, and just seeing how to bring them all together. Yeah, so it's getting my nerves. I'm not angry. It's a nice thing, nice place of tension. Yeah.
Okay, nice place of tension. Hashtag. Nice place of tension.
Everything thrives in the tension. Exactly.
People, everything thrives in that tension. I love that. Okay, so you can return that. Thank you very much. So we will dive straight into the conversation, Andrew. First things first, what is wellness?
Wellness is a proactive state of pursuing health. So proactive means you're actually putting energy into it. But health is a really big thing. I know a couple of times we think about just the physical health. Do I have malaria? Do I have a cough? It's this time of corona. But as we have seen, like even in this time of corona, many other issues are coming in. Mental health is coming in. Financial issues are coming in. So when you look at health, we look at the holistic thing about it. So physical health, your fitness, disease, these basic diseases which we normally talk about. We talk about also the mental health. We talk about financial, because if you don't have money, it's going to be a stress to you, which is going to cause mental health issues. We talk about emotional health. We talk about social health, relationships between spouse, husband, wife, children, and that kind of thing. We talk about spiritual health, and what's your standing in terms of what you believe, who you believe in, and that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's really a big scope, but you find all these things interacting and actually affecting you in different ways. Okay,
so wellness is the entire scope.
Exactly.
Everything that goes into making sure we are alive and thriving.
Exactly.
All right, great. That's helpful to know. So, the big one. What is the connection between what we eat and what goes on in our minds?
What we eat and what goes on in our minds, mental health. So basically, when you talk about what you eat, I would break it down and say we could either be eating right or we could be eating wrong. So eating wrong, if I'd go there, we could either be eating too much food, but many of us think it's just about eating too much food. We could either be eating, or we could be eating too little food. We could be choosing the wrong kinds of food, or we could be choosing the right kinds of food. So if I just talk about first, eating more than we should be having, which many a times actually blends in with also in eating the wrong kinds of food. So we're eating more, so calories are units of energy in the food which we eat, and they basically they help us achieve body function, the different things which our body does. So if somebody's going to eat more than they need, in most cases you're going to find them putting on weight. And now putting on weight for most people comes with esteem issues. So you find, I would say, I don't want to say many, I'll be careful and say some. Like some ladies want to cut weight. You find guys, it may not be necessarily cutting weight, but like the belly. They're concerned about the belly and they want to get rid of the belly. But this normally comes from eating lots of food. Now,
which also affects their confidence.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, because like fine, ladies want to fit into that dress, guys want to look good in that suit and that kind of thing. So that comes with stress issues. I've attended to some men who say like who are like married and they say, no, my wife says when we got married you did not have that belly, get rid of it, and it's actually causing issues. On the side of men, if I'll finish them first, there's also something else. You see fat. Fat cells produce an enzyme called aromatase. Now, aromatase.
Aromatase.
So,
how's that
spelled? Aromatase. So aroma, T-A-S-E at the end. So this hormone actually, so you know, like we have men and we have women. The reason why you're a woman and why I'm a man is so we both have testosterone, the male hormone, and estrogen, the female hormone. But women tend to have estrogen in higher quantities, men tend to have testosterone in higher quantities. That's what causes our differentiation right at the part in the fetus and that kind of thing, in your mother, at the point of conception. So what happens when we have more fat? Fat cells produce aromatase, which means when you have more fat on you, you actually have more of the aromatase. Now aromatase causes conversion, preferential conversion. In that process, I don't get a lot deep into the science, but basically you have production of more estrogen than somebody who has less fat. Now, what that estrogen does, so that's how you have like some of the men getting like the man boobs. We call it gynecomastia. And like the man boobs it's a common thing which a couple of the men come in and they're like, I want to get rid of this belly and I want to tone up things around my chest and that kind of thing. So that's part of the esteem issues coming in. However, if you're a man and you're getting more of that and you're getting more estrogen than you need, you understand, that's now going to come with issues, marital issues, so sexual function. You're going to have erectile dysfunction. So you're now, and that's now going to it's going to play a big thing in the like. Of course, that is going to be an issue in marriage. At least I would stress. Exactly. Now it's stress to you, but it's stress to your spouse, which now also can trickle down to stress to your children. You find some now. Okay, so I'm just going to handle these things as they come. So you find like some women are actually failing. You know, like conceiving is not just about. So that the whole issue of being able to conceive, fertility, and that kind of thing. It's not just about the physical makeup. Your genitalia for both the male and women can be perfect, but stress can affect your sexual hormones, your cycles. So you have women missing their cycles and that kind of thing. So that's going to affect that. You're not producing kids, more stress. So you find most of these things being quite a vicious cycle. Putting on weight is causing stress, which now talking about that. So now I've talked about the whole issue of stress. But another thing about that fat, when you have more of that fat, is the stress rather. Stress. Many of us look at the perceived stress. So like you're at work and your boss is on your case and that kind of thing, and there's a lot to do with the perceived stress. But whenever you put your body in an uncomfortable state, you may not be feeling it, but you're actually stressing it. So say if you're not eating enough food, and that's something maybe which we'll dive into later about the other side of not eating enough food, you are actually stressing your body because you're not giving it enough calories. Yeah, we have demonized calories, but you actually need the calories to function, but you just need to have them in the right quantity and then the right type. But like stress, what happens when you're chronically stressed is that there's a hormone called cortisol, which rises. So cortisol is your chronic stress hormone compared to adrenaline, which is for fight or flight. A thief is entering your house and banging the doors and there's that thing which wakes you up, eyes open wide and that kind of thing, and you're ready to like act, either run or to
fight.
or to fight,
Catch me
depending.
fighting. You want
Yeah, so cortisol, adrenaline actually helps you like lose fat. Adrenaline is like the most potent fat burning molecule known. So that now comes into some of the things which we need to do, like in terms of say like things like exercise. You need exercise which is boosting adrenaline. But to handle this other side, the cortisol, the chronic stress, cortisol actually causes deposition of fat around your waist. You're going to, yes, it actually causes deposition of fat.
The more stressed I am, the more likely that I am having fat deposited.
Exactly. The more likely you are to actually deposit fat around your waist. It antagonizes, so it works against. Vicious cycle. So you see.
That's how come people like when I stress eat, like that's the whole concept, you know.
It is actually part. It actually plays a part. Another thing. So you have people. Sleep is another thing which people are not doing much of. So we recommend that you sleep for 7.5 hours at least on average per day. So it's a target. I mean, in school, 100% was the target, but we never used to achieve it all the time. But at least you have it in your mind. When they say start, you're aiming, at least you're like aiming for 100%. So it's the same thing. We should be aiming for 7.5 hours. There's a study which was done, and they divided a group of people into two. This half slept for 5.5 hours on average. This half slept for 8.5 hours. And then at the end of 2 weeks, they found out how much fat was lost by each group. The group of 5.5 hours lost 0.6 kilograms of fat.
Wow.
The group of 8.5 hours lost 1.4 kilograms of fat.
I think I like
That's
like
about 3 times.
Bit because we can be so sleep deprived. So if by sleeping I'm going to lose weight, that's good motivation.
Exactly. You lose weight. You lose weight, you actually even build muscle, you repair damaged tissues, immune function improves. When you don't sleep well enough, cortisol rises. But the challenge is by you not sleeping enough. So now when cortisol rises, you don't sleep enough, cortisol rises, the chronic stress hormone. But when cortisol rises, it impairs your sleep. So you see why you can't handle wellness, just one thing. You can't just say, I'm going to read my Bible, like say if you're a Christian, I'm going to read my Bible, meditate on God and what. That's not enough. You have to tackle the holistic things. So even eating and that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's a bit with eating too much, like putting on the weight and what. But as I said, even eating too little.
Okay.
When you eat too little, you actually put your body in a state of chronic stress. So like fasting is like you're fasting like for spiritual reasons. So you're fasting for large parts of the day for maybe a couple of days, 3 days, 7 days, 21, 40 days.
Okay. And could this be the same also as intermittent fasting?
No, so intermittent fasting, no. Let me first deal with this one.
Okay.
Okay. So you're fasting for longer spells of time. Maybe it's easier for me to deal with intermittent fasting first. Intermittent fasting, basically, you have an eating window of about the recommended type of intermittent fasting. So intermittent means a break. So that kind of thing. So you're having an 8 to 9 hour eating window. So maybe you're having breakfast at 12, or you're having a meal at 12 noon, and then you're eating up to 8 p.m. So you can have lunch, something in between there, dinner, whatever, but you stop eating at 8 p.m. That kind of fasting is actually beneficial. It boosts your metabolism. It boosts your ability. Metabolism is the ability to burn calories. It's a summation of all the body processes which happens. So that's actually helpful for you. It helps you burn fat. It kind of helps. It's like kind of like rebooting a computer, because while we are living, the whole process of life, cells die. Cells in our body die. A process we call apoptosis. So what happens when you intermittent fast is that you kind of cleanse the system of all that cell death, if I would say. So it's a kind of rebooting of the system.
Okay.
So your body actually gets fired too. You actually begin functioning more effectively.
And now, that also just affects your mind,
mental health. Yeah, good.
Right.
Yes, that's good. So that's on the good side of things. Now, when you have a smaller eating window, so less than 8 hours, 6 hours, and that's where the other kind of fasting would come in, because people who fast for spiritual reasons typically say breakfast in the evening, say at 6 or at 7 just for dinner. Normally you just breakfast for dinner, you sleep, wake up in the morning and continue your fast. So you have, say, a 3-hour eating window, sometimes even just a 2-hour eating window. So meaning for 22 hours you are fasting. Now that kind of fasting, what it does is like what's happening lockdown. I like using this when I'm talking to my clients. I just liken it to the lockdown. Lockdown comes, and President Museveni says, in 3 days we are locking down. What do people do? People go to the markets and stock up on food. They buy their posho, beans, and for those who have more money, yeah, they buy other things. Yeah, but they just go and stock up on food because we don't know how long this lockdown will be.
Yeah.
Your body does the same thing whenever you deprive it massively of calories. So if you have an 8 to 9 hour eating window, that's something which your body can handle. It's actually beneficial. But when done in excess, your body now primes you to store. So it says, we don't know how long the president, who is Helena in this case, we don't know how long.
Right.
We do not know how long the president is going to have this lockdown going. So let's stock up. And that's what your body does. It says, you know what? Helena hasn't been eating, so we don't know how long this lockdown is going to happen. So the next time food comes in, let's store.
Yeah.
So you find yourself, like people who fast can lose weight. They can lose weight and they're excited. But the challenge is they are not only, initially, yes, you can lose lots of fat, but when you fast for those long periods of time, you also lose muscle. And you don't want to lose muscle.
Why? So yeah, because I've been wondering. I think there was a time we had this conversation, and I think with some friends of mine, and they were complaining about like getting onto weight plans, but they're losing muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah, talk to us about that a bit.
So it's basically whenever you lose too many calories at once. So anything which is going to cause you to lose too many calories at once. So long duration fasting, excessive amounts of low to moderate intensity cardio, jogging for, again, and that's why I say you have to know what your goal is. If you're going to jog for 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers and more, and your goal is camaraderie, you want to bond with people, you know what, it's an office event, we go jogging always, then that's okay. Go with, my goal is leisure, my goal is camaraderie, bonding. If your goal is fat loss, sustainable fat loss, then I wouldn't recommend you're doing too much of that long duration kind of exercise because it stresses the body. So stresses, your cortisol levels actually rise, and so in the long term you actually prime
Andrew. So jogging can actually stress my body if I am
if you do it for long, really long periods and many times. If you do it once in a while, I mean it's okay. But again, because I handle clients on a daily, and I have people who tell me, you know what, I do jogging for more than 1 hour every other day. I've had people who tell me they do it Monday to Friday.
Wow.
You're putting your body in a state of chronic stress. And typically what they say is, I lost the weight initially, but it came back.
Yeah.
It came back, and actually first I lost the weight, then I plateaued. I was no longer losing weight, yet I was working out more. And then now it even began coming back. Now you're getting so the mental stress is coming on top of that.
Yeah.
Cortisol levels are rising. You're putting on the fat. And nothing which is happening is, like, your body, again, COVID, what's happening in COVID? What are many companies doing? They're saying, you know what, we have to now begin cutting on the bottom line. So we have to begin getting rid of expenses. Which things are taking up our money? They begin laying off staff. Your body does the same thing. If you put it in a state of excessive loss of calories, it says, which tissue is contributing a lot to this excessive loss of calories?
Who needs to
muscle
go?
It's the tissue with the highest metabolic rate.
Wow.
About 60 to 70% of your metabolism is because of your skeletal muscle. So the muscle which moves your bones, your biceps, triceps, glutes, quadriceps, chest, back, and all that. Seps, all of them. Yeah. So your body begins getting rid of that. You understand? So you have people, say somebody looking thin but not lean. You see somebody looking thin. You've seen people who lose weight and they look malnourished.
Yeah, like
that's not the right way of losing weight. Yes, because there you've lost muscle too. Muscle gives us definition.
Right.
The aesthetic look both women and men are looking for, it's because of muscle.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
It's the aesthetic look comes from the muscle. So whenever you lose muscle, you have that thin, malnourished look coming out. Yet we want you to look, you want to look thin, and we want you to look lean. And I mean, it's clearly documented that, you know what, if somebody feels better and looks in the mirror, and to them, it doesn't matter what else, what other people think, but if you look into the mirror and you're like, I feel better,
I like what I see.
I like what I see.
Yeah.
You will be more confident. You will perform better in the workplace. Like this morning, I did a workout, and I just felt good after. Endorphins are released when you work out. Endorphins are chemicals released in our bodies, which basically improve mood. You understand?
Right.
So I tell people, any exercise you do is going to improve your mood.
Okay.
Now, if I may just hint a little bit more on that issue of the cardio, if you're stressed, don't go and lift metals in the gym. No, go on a walk, go on a jog.
I'm sorry, I think I was just imagining your stress.
Yeah, I mean, you understand, because like exercise is a whole new different thing also, which you could talk about maybe some other time. But a walk is definitely going to be good for you, a jog, that kind of thing, but not for
movement,
1.5 hours.
Right.
A light activity is actually going to reduce those levels of cortisol.
So what you are saying is like, when we find ourselves really stressed after you've had a bad day, that's not the day to go and lift weights.
If you're going to lift weights, it should be light.
Okay.
Because how that kind of exercise works is that, as I said, it increases the acute stress hormone, adrenaline, which initially is not very beneficial for you.
Okay.
It's a long-term beneficial for you. Yeah.
Okay. So when is the time to go and lift?
I would like to say, I would like to say both men and women need to carry weight.
Right.
Both men and women need to carry weight. I would argue that 60% of your workouts should be something moving your body against some kind of resistance. You understand?
Okay.
And then just leave like the 30% to some other kind of cardio, because you can actually still get a cardio in when you're carrying the weights. But there's something the weights do which cardio will not do for you. Cardio builds your heart muscle.
Right.
Resistance training, moving your body against some kind of weight, builds your skeletal muscle. So you need to build both muscles. Okay. Now you can build the skeletal muscle and still get a cardio in, but the reverse isn't true.